bleed on the white. Hello. Now, as much as I love summer, realistically, it is kind of coming to an end, and I only have so many weeks left to enjoy a lot of my tank tops and warm weather clothing. So I really want to enjoy my summer fashion as much as I can while I can. That being said, summer is definitely the time that I do the most of my sewing. I definitely knit more in the winter and sew more in the spring and summer. And I'm just in the mood to make something new while also maybe refixing up something I've already made. I've been looking through my Pinterest and my Instagram and my TikTok saves, and one thing that I've saved a lot of is matching sets. I have a whole bunch of inspiration photos that I've been looking at, and I really want to make something, but I'm worried about it looking like pajamas. I feel like there's a very fine line in these sets. If it is a button-up shirt with some shorts, I'm worried it'll look too much like a pajama set. So I've been thinking about doing more of a tank top style, and I've really been enjoying the tie sides that I've been seeing on different tank tops and shorts. I think they're super, super cute, and I'm really inspired to make something with those designs. I was looking through my mending basket a few days ago, and I remembered that I have this tank top that I made back in 2020. It's made out of this like thicker cotton twill almost, and it has this really cool stripe on it. I really like the pattern of this fabric. But I made this back in 2020 when I wasn't as experienced, and there are definitely some design things that I want to change about this. As you can see, I did not sew down the facing very well, and so it really needs like a good ironing or something to keep it in place. But it has a very high neckline, one that I'm not sure that I actually really like. I have some ideas for how to modify this, and I'm hoping that I can turn this tank top into the top of my set. And then I have just enough leftover fabric from this that I think I can make shorts to go with it. Well, I'm gonna go ahead to my drawing board and looking at my inspiration photos, see what I can make out of these two things, and if I can get like a summer set that works for what I'm looking for and doesn't look like pajamas. This is what we're working with right off the bat. This shirt isn't something I'm really sentimental about, so I'm not worried about cutting it up. It's just not a fit that I really want to keep. And I know that adding some little embellishments and things would make this into a shirt that I actually wear. First things first though, I need to go through and unpick all of the interfacing, unsecure that hook and eye, and take off all of the bias tape that I have around the armholes. Okay, I've taken off all of the facings and all of the armholes at this point. It is definitely looking like more of a shell of a top. One thing that I've noticed though, and I forgot about, is that over the years, I've actually just like taken it in to the point where the side seam is like in here. So I solidly have like 1.5 inches extra room on the side that I didn't know about. So that gives me a lot of relief because I was worried about how form-fitting this top was. And so I have a lot of room to take out. But that does mean that I need to seam pick through 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of stitching that I've just taken it in 3 other times. But I do really like this top, and I'm happy that I'm reusing it in some way, just because it's something that has been in my repair basket for I think 1.5 years at this point, because I was too lazy to fix a hook and eye, to be honest. Now that the hook and eye's out of the way, should be pretty good. After giving this shirt a good press, I went ahead and stitched up that keyhole back that I had that I just didn't need anymore if I was going to be doing a larger opening. With that, I also went through and did a little bit of modifying to the actual pattern where I cut away bigger armholes and then was able to modify that neckline so it fit a little bit better. I've made a lot of adjustments to this, and I already like it so much more just with a few things modified. I haven't decided yet, but I have a feeling that I'm going to end up cropping this as well with some high-waisted shorts. I think the balance would be better because right now it falls at my hips, which is pretty far for me, and it kind of gives me more of a boxy look than when I crop things with something high-waisted. There's going to be a lot of bias tape involved with all of this, especially for the side seams, the ties, the armholes, the neck hole, a lot of bias tape is going to be needed. So I'm gonna wait until a little bit further on because I'm gonna need bias tape for the shorts as well. And honestly, I don't wanna cut that right now. So I'm gonna cut out my shorts and start working on those. And then I'll probably do all of the ties and bias tape binding all at the same time, kind of towards the end. But I am excited to get started on the shorts and see the vision kind of come together.
For my shorts, I ended up taking a pair of existing pajama shorts and tracing those out for my pattern. Now, do what I say and not what I do here, because I did not leave room for a seam allowance. So these original shorts did not fit me, and I ended up having to recut them because they were just too small. So moving forward, if you ever use this technique, make sure that you add that seam allowance because it truly is so important with making a pattern and making sure a pattern fits.
So I currently have my shorts and my shirt done. The side seams are not complete and I haven't put the waistband on the shorts yet. One thing that I'm noticing though, and I'm a little worried about, is how vertical the stripe is with the top. So even if I break it up with some side seam ties, different things, I'm worried that having both of these things will just kind of look like one long blob. So I have some ideas in mind on how to break this up and I'm hoping that they work out. What I'm thinking is maybe adding some horizontal stripe in here. I still have a lot of this fabric left over, so I was wondering if putting along the bottom a row of horizontal stripe will kind of help break it up. And then I'm wondering if I could do the same thing on the top. I think next I'm gonna start working on these shorts, getting the elastic waistband and everything really finished. Then I can play around a little bit more with the bottom and the horizontal stripe along with those ties that I was thinking of.
I'm really making these just classic elastic waistband shorts where I put on the waistband. The only modifications that I really made was the outer side seams. And what I ended up doing with that is leaving a lot of room and having them open. So when I tried them on, I was able to see where I wanted them to fit and where I was going to be putting bias tape for the opening to come on the sides. After putting them on my body, I was able to see exactly how I wanted them to fit, where I was able to cut off a lot of the extra, and then I'll use the scraps later as ties or extra bias tape in this project.
Everything is just pinned right now, and I don't have any elastic in the waistband, so everything's just being held up by pins and strength. I have two different options pinned right now that I really want to see how it goes, because right now I love the cropped with the stripe and I feel like it'll do a lot to help break up the pieces and not just be so much horizontal stripe. But I have some things that I want to look at and see how they are. It's very much just like pinned in place right now just to get like kind of an idea of what it is. This is a scrap that I had from before that I cut off of somewhere. Okay, without the addition of the stripe, even with it cropped right here, it is a lot of vertical lines, especially from far away using the camera as a mirror right now. It's very much going into pajama territory. It's not looking like a full modern set to me. If I flip this around, and I think I like that so much more. Oh yes, I like, ow, don't bleed on the white. Okay, I have this just pinned as well. I'm debating if I want to keep the slit this high, but I like the length of the shorts right now. I love this horizontal stripe and I like how thick it is. I'm gonna try to keep it this thick. And I like this stripe as well. This is the look that I'm gonna go for. I think it just helps break up a lot of the vertical lines, and I think it just is a little bit more pleasing to the eye. I think it elevates it from like pajamas to this is an intentional matching set. I've put a lot of time and energy into this.
I just realized I cut all of these wrong. I cut them all with my vertical stripe, and I want a horizontal stripe. So real lucky I still have way more of this, but I was wrong. That was a mistake. So I don't know what I'll do with these. I'll probably end up turning one of them into the bias tape that I need for everything else, but I was wrong. Let's do it right this time.
After attaching my horizontal stripe, I was able to go through and work on finishing the inside seam allowance. With the slit up the side, what I did is just took my larger 5/8 seam allowance, tucked it in, and stitched it down so that it had a nice clean edge. After I worked on that, I went ahead and did the elastic waistband as normal, and they were done.
It's still a work in progress, but it's getting closer. I thought that the horizontal stripes were gonna be just like a quick little addition. It did end up being a multi-hour segue, so that's fun. I would say I'm probably about 85% done with this so far. I have bias tape going up the sides already, and so this is all secure and finished. I have the shorts almost completely done. Really what's left is I need to do the bias tape for the neck hole and the armholes. So I have a thought on how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a very long piece of bias tape where I'm gonna leave a tail and have the bias tape finish all the way around the arm and then have another tail at the end. And that is where my first tie is going to be, under the armpit. And then my next tie is going to be around my rib cage, I believe. So it'll be secured in 2 places and then have a little V at the bottom here. Cute. My question is this slip on the side for the shorts. Number 1, it's a little too high. Number 2, I'm worried that when I sit down, if I just have it like secured in the middle here, when I sit down, I'm worried there's too much pressure going right there. And I'm really worried that it's gonna snap if I sit. So it's not like too tight right now, but when I sit, it definitely adds a lot of tension. And I just don't want it to like rip the first time I sit down on the couch or get into a car. So I'm debating on how I want to secure this. I think machine stitching it back and forth, maybe adding a little piece of fabric to back it and really help anchor it in place will be helpful. That way, every time I sit down, I won't be scared that I'm gonna pop the stitches. But I'm overall really happy with how it's looking. I love the horizontal stripes on here. I'm really happy that I took the time to do it. We are very much nearing the end of this project. I'm really happy that I was able to turn this top into something cute. So I'm gonna go ahead, do those bows, and then I think we're kind of done.
One thing that I did was actually go through and hand sew all of the bows in place so that they would not come apart while I was moving, and they were just kind of fake for show bows. I was really worried that they would come apart and it would fall apart, and I didn't want it opening. That is another reason that for the shorts especially, I went in and took this extra little piece of fabric and placed that underneath the bow just for added security. And let me tell you, that thing was backstitched in place to perfection because there was no way I was going to sit down and have this snap open. I wanted to make sure that was secure.
I think it is safe to say that this was another raging success. I love this top. I'm 100% going to be wearing this even if I don't wear with the matching shorts. This is my favorite part of this project that turned out so well, above all of my expectations. I'm so excited that I was able to take this from a top that was sitting in my mending basket that I hadn't worn in like a year and a half to a top that I really can see myself wearing all the time. I love this so much. One thing that I also really love about this top is that I used a lot of bias tape in order to fold in the seams here. And because I used bias tape, I didn't cut away any edges. So if one day I decide that I don't like the ties anymore, I can cut away the ties and seam rip the bias tape and then sew that seam back together and just make an enclosed top. But for right now, the ties are some of my favorite parts of this top. I love how it turned out, and I especially love this little V right here in the side. I don't know why, but it just like brings me a lot of joy. I have sat down quite a few times in these shorts, and my little patch underneath the bows are really holding up. I'm happy I went ahead and did that just because I was so worried that the integrity with just a bow would just snap the minute I sat down. Girls got some thighs, and so I knew that they needed to be structurally sound and really sewn in place. So having that little strip of fabric really secured down and then hidden by the bow, I think really helps this project and makes it so I'll be able to wear it a lot longer. I'm not sure if there's anything I would do different on this project, honestly. I really like it. The shorts maybe are a little high-waisted. I probably could have gone another inch below, but honestly, I'm all for having things be a little too high-waisted. I want my pants to sit at my rib cage, so it works for me. But thank you so much for watching. I make videos every other Tuesday, and I have so much fun sewing and quilting and knitting, and I love making seasonal projects or things from unconventional or vintage textiles. So reusing a shirt that I already owned and making it into something brand new was 100% up my alley, and I had so much fun challenging myself with this project. I absolutely love how it turned out. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Let me stand on my tiptoes so you can see. Have to do a lot of shimmying. Also worried about the pajama effect. Oh, it's so dark. It's so wrinkly. I'm so tired. Look how cute it looks.